Hello, and welcome back to my channel. This is Reality with Diva D. How are you doing? Um, let's get into some piping hot tea, and I just wanted to discuss Candiace, as Color Me Pete calls her, because that's how her name is spelled, y'all. I mean Candiace Dillard Bastard, my girl. Be Simone and Fat Joe. So we're gonna do Fat Joe last because he got a lot going on, and I took some deep, thorough notes on Fat Joe's situation. B Simone, I just picked up on seeing other bloggers talk about it. I mean, she's not on my radar like that. But what's in the news in regards to her best friend? It's nothing short of amazing. Now let's get into it, but before I do, let me remind you that everything I say is alleged and in my opinion, just like I cited my sources. The Copyright Act of 1976 allows me to utilize any news reporting that on these stars individual, and as long as I am providing proper commentary and citing them as a resource. But so let's get into it. Like I said, let's talk about Candiace real quick. Candiace did an interview with I don't remember the young lady's name, but I remember Candiace, of course. So here's the deal. Prim, proper, pampered princess. All these things can describe Candiace. A beauty queen, if you will. On her show, attacked by someone just as beautiful, but did not value herself in the way that Candiace valued herself. When people from season 5 discuss Candiace, they say things like she should have gotten her ass beat and things like this, when all I saw from this young lady was loyalty towards Gonique, aka Monique, aka Big Nick. Okay, that's all I saw. I have told a story many times how the way Monique spun this story, I honestly thought that Candiace had started everything. I watched the episodes 1 through 5. It was always an avoidance on Candiace's behalf. I never ever saw what these people are talking about Candiace starting anything with Monique. Now, so excuse the rudeness of that house phone. Nobody calls that number but fraud lines, but I keep the number for other purposes. I don't even know why, because it used to be that you kept the landline phone for storms and tornadoes and such, especially around here in the SIP. But hell, it's all run on the internet now, so I don't know why I still got a house phone, a landline number. Anyway, the point is, back to Candiace. So, not so much to rehash season 5. I saw what I saw. I don't know what the hell y'all saw. All I saw was a woman who was attacked for basically nothing. So she pretty much said that in this interview, and people are still saying that she was fired because she said that she chose her baby over and peace over arguing with these bitches, basically. And I agree with her. You're still dealing with an individual who Big Nick is very shady in her movements, and I maybe that's that street hood mentality when Candiace was calling her hood rap after the fight, because after the fight, literally, she attacked Candiace for absolutely positively engaging her once. And the only reason why you can side with Monique in that fight is just simply because you don't like him. And what I find very, very strange in the African American community and our community, and sweeping across the board, what is wrong with acknowledging a pedigree? Why is that a bad thing? You have Ashley, who was born up on the bridge, dragging Candiace for her generational wealth, and now she busting her half Caucasian behind, trying to make the same lifestyle for her kids, living up under a troll for 10 years almost. A golem in the Shire. Have y'all seen Michael? Did y'all see? I mean, his hands look like they should be cold. I could not. No amount of money, Lord Jesus, would allow me to lay up under something so gray, so moldy, and so cold. Barely hanging on by a thread. Don't look like it have an ounce of warmth to its body. Now, and I've noticed this, and I really realized this about my younger daughter, my youngest daughter. I'm not raising my children to be bulldogs. I'm not raising my children to be hounds. I'm not raising my children to be in the street, and I'm damn sure not raising them to be dumb just so they can look good in front of their peers. I'm raising my children to be straight A students, respectful, and to use proper English. So when people come to me, because people can be from anywhere and speak proper English. So when people come to me and say, because my daughter does not sound Southern, okay, like her mom. So when people come to me and say, why is she so proper? How does she talk so proper? And I say, because of her mother. And then they say, well, you still sound Southern. I meant to sound Southern. I can sound Southern. That's how I want to sound. I sound Southern, but I also know how to use my words properly. And that is what I'm teaching my daughter to do. I'm not teaching my daughter to sound anything other than what she sounds like. And in the midst of her using proper English, she doesn't have a tone of a Southern tone. But my aunt was like that. I had an aunt who was raised in Anawaya. Ain't no country in Anawaya. But she does not sound like a Southerner. And people hated her just because of the way she talked. So I know it's coming. I know it's coming for my poor daughter. But I said all that to say is that I don't feel like Monique was raised in the same manner. You have two people from two different worlds, two different backgrounds. Even though Monique was rich through marriage, still two different worlds. Raised very differently. But is it fair for Monique to gain so much favor because of that? Is it fair to Candiace that she finally spoke up and said what needed to be said to Monique? Because no matter how much you go back over it, don't start in the middle. Don't start at the fight. Don't start at the part where Candiace was actually arguing with Monique's violent ass. Start at the fact that this young lady told her there was a plot against her through someone else, but she told it. Didn't have to do that. And then two, she did everything that she could possibly do to avoid confrontation. And then when she started saying things back to Monique finally, she couldn't handle it. The damn lady is ridiculous. Now we have all these rumors going around saying that Candiace was fired. I still don't believe that she was. And you can never make me say that she had any part in that fight that happened in the barn. Now you can say that maybe that smoke was meant for Giselle and Rodman. She wasn't going to do anything to them because she know Rodman would have wrapped her ass up. Because Rodman built like a dude. She got them dude hands. And she probably would have went back upside Monique's head. That was a bully move in my opinion. And there'll always be a bully move in my opinion. And you ain't nothing you could drop down in my comments and say to make me ever change that. Now let's move right along to be Simone. This whole thing reminds me of my bestie. Okay. R.I.P. Remember my bestie went on the glory a couple weeks ago. I'm still devastated. I'm not really, I don't think I've ever been myself because of it, because my other half is gone. People say that about their spouses. I say that about my best friend. That was my other half. And when I saw this young lady discussing everything that she was going through and all the hardships that she was going through as a single parent, it made me feel some type of way, because I know that my friend knew that I've never, well, I didn't struggle. Because over the years, I worked. So when I was in college, I could say that I might have been a struggling college student because I had to take out loans and stuff like that to go to college. But she sent me money just because. There were many times that I didn't ask her for a dime. She sent me money because I was in college. She was in the military. So our dynamics were different. She was making money in that way. Thousands of dollars, where I'm making hundreds of dollars working at my rates. Okay? So she did that because she wanted to do. So fast forward years later. Now, mind you, she sent me MCTA cards just to cultivate our relationship and to make sure that we stay friends. So fast forward to years later. And Bell South Mobility closed, consolidated first to singular, turned to singular, transferred that, consolidated with AT&T. And I'm still in college, right? I'm working on my master's. And she encouraged me to travel with the job. And I refused because I really, 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 really wanted to finish my master's. So I thought that I could maybe survive because I had my IRA. I had my severance package. But I was paying for school out my pocket by this point. And I really thought that I was going to be able to make it. You know, keep my apartment, keep my car, and stay in Jackson, which is where I was staying after I graduated because I was in school. I only had a semester to go, 8 more hours in my dissertation to finish my master's. And that's still how it is to this day. But military is different, right? Military is different from B. Simone, who is allegedly a millionaire. But what me and my best friend used to say to each other on millionaire status is, if I got it, you got it, right? So I wrecked my car. I ended up wrecking my car. I had let my insurance lapse because I was trying to figure out a way to really get around paying bills, and I had to separate what's important. And back then I thought what was more important was to have my cell phone turned off, seeing as how my cell phone was partially being paid through AT&T, and then they closed. So my cell phone plan went to a regular cell phone plan, which they lied to us. They had told us that we could keep our cell phone plan for up to 2 years. I think they said 2 to 3 years, somewhere in there. But anyway, before my 2 years was even up, they started charging me a regular cell phone bill. And I say all that to say is that I know if, and this was the worst time of my life, because again, I had my severance package, I had my IRA, I had money in my IRA that I had saved up, I had that rolled over, but the bills don't stop, right? She started sending me money in the mail. It just wasn't enough. I mean, you know, my rent was, and I know this is about to sound low, but this is in the early 2000s. My rent was like maybe $535. That was a lot then. My rent was like $535. I had just got an increase on it. My car note was like $420 something, and my light bill was what it was. But I will say this. This is in her defense. I know if she had beat Simone, and I'm just talking about me and my bestie, because I can speak on it. I know if she was a millionaire, none of that would have happened. My car would have been fixed, wrecked. If I had a wreck and I had got the car repossessed, nothing that would happen. My rent would have been paid. Okay? Because she did everything she possibly could to keep me in that apartment. She would add money to my my bank account. I didn't even know she had done it. Sometimes she just like wire me like a couple $100 here and there. It just wasn't enough. It wasn't enough to take care of me for what I had to be going through at the time. Mostly what I was spending money on that she was sending me was food. But the idea is here, she was sending it to me. And I feel like, again, if she was a millionaire, and I'm speaking solely on our relationship, millionaire versus thousandaire. Think about this thing now. My best friend as a thousandaire was doing what she could to keep me afloat. What she could, plus her own bills, plus helping her own mama. So I couldn't imagine what she would have done if she was a millionaire. But our pact was still the same. If you got it, I got it. If I got it, you got it. We kept that, regardless of what would happen between us. We would get into it or whatever, but if I fall on hard times and I call her and say I fell on hard times, I didn't have to ask her for anything. It's just like she knew. She just would know. I mean, and vice versa. So I just for me, looking on the outside, looking in, I couldn't imagine their situation. I do understand that when you become a star, you become a star of your family. And that is so sad. And you become a star of your friends and everything. And I understand that it's just very depressing when those things happen. But at the same time, I couldn't call you my best friend. For me. I couldn't call you my best friend. I'd be a millionaire. And I know your house, you're about to lose your apartment. You're about to lose your car. And me not help you. Because what we always say is I'm going to get, if I get rich, girl, I'm going to get, if I have $8 million in the bank, I'm going to give you $2. And that's your lump sum, girl. And if you run out of your lump sum, you ass out. That's what we would say. You know, stuff like that. So I do also go back and look at it this way. I don't know what B Simone had done for her in the past. Maybe she had run out of her quote unquote 2 million. Maybe she had already been helping her, and it was it was more than what she can do going forward. Maybe it was a situation where she had her hand out before, and it was just, even though she had it, she just was like, you know, when is she gonna get independent of me? So I also look at it that way, but I just know for me, I would have had her back. Okay, like I was saying, drop down in the comments. Let me know what y'all think about that. Do y'all think that maybe it had been a time where best friend Simone's best friend had just maybe reached her limit with her? Because we didn't really get the backstory that I saw when I've only seen the clip. Because that's about all I can stand. I'm looking at B Simone. um, could it have possibly have been a situation where B had already given so much that she had to say, she had to cut off, basically? Or could it have been a situation where she just, like her best friend said, she was passing out texts to other people and she just wasn't helping her? But that whole thing bothered me with that. Jesus. Girl, go on. With that half eyebrow. That bothers me about her. But anyway, let's get into Fat Joe's lawsuit. Okay, so GMA, which is Good Morning America, I guess, online, is reporting that Fat Joe his name is Joe Catandia, has been sued by a former hype man. He works with Little Joe. Little Joe. Maybe he is Little Joe. The reason, I used to watch the nails of that. You don't know, you don't know. But anyway, maybe he did work for him for, and Fat Joe, he knows Fat Joe's intimate details of what's occurring into this lawsuit. But anyway, he's being accused of fraud, trafficking, exploitation, intimidation, my goodness, and coercion. That's a lot. That's a lot, Joe. That is a lot. Well, anyway, he worked for him for 15 years as a hype man and a lyricist and a vocalist. Now, let's get into it. A hype man supposed to be paid the same amount as the actual rapper? Because, it was a lot going on. Let's use Public Enemy as an example. The world's greatest hype man was on their team, which was Flavor Flav. And then you had, sometimes, I promise you, I realized as years went by that Public Enemy possibly used Flav as that type of hype man because for the simple fact that they need to soften the blow a little bit of what they were delivering, sort of like what happened on Good Times, where they softened the blow by introducing the character as the militant character as a teenager, because who would want to harm? Well, not just a teenager, but I think they started him off like 9 or 10. Mike. What's his name? Mike? What's his name, Michael? I think his name was Michael. Because, as he got older on Good Times, that character slowly got away. He had slowly gotten away from, speaking on black issues and that militant behavior. If you look back at those episodes, you'll see that. But maybe it was a thing that they used Flav as to soften the blow, because they were delivering a very, very powerful message. And then you had Professor Grill you know, he was pretty serious, right? And it would be times where they would get into it about Flav, you know, as the years went on, about Flav not receiving the same type of funds that Chuck D was receiving, and well, Griff when he was in the group. But the question is, did Flav contribute to any lyrics? I don't think he did. But as the years went on and they started getting their residual payments back from these companies that they were suing, record companies they were suing, and then they wouldn't give like anything, I used to be like, well, he deserves something. Maybe not what Chuck was receiving. Maybe Chuck got $2 million. Maybe Flav should have gotten 500,000. But you know, it had gotten to a point where he was getting like 60,000, 70,000, 80,000. So Flav sued. And then they saw, as the years went on, that you know they kind of needed Flav in his damn clock as goofy as he was. Okay, so you know, Chuck made amends with him. I don't even know what the agreement was. But maybe Fat Joe should have made an agreement with this fella, because now all of these things are coming out as if, you know, what he's alleging may be true. He's also alleging that he engaged in exploitation, intimidation, and he didn't pay him for the songs that he helped write. He says he helped wrote Congratulations. He helped write Congratulations. And I can't read my hand. Congratulations and Dream, I think that's what I put down right here. You know, I'm writing this stuff fast. And he also alleges that he threatened him that if he left the group, then he would leave him in these certain type of countries, like overseas, by himself to fend for himself if he didn't perform certain acts with these different women. Then we find out not only did he coerce him into having these alleged acts, was Fat Joe doing overflow? That's my question. Was he saying like, there ain't no fun if my homies can't have none? Or was he saying, you better sleep with bitches and I'm gonna leave you in the Dominican Republic? Because apparently this was all Fat Joe business. Most of his business went down, and it went down in the DR. It went down in the DR. He also alleges that some of these women were underage, as young as 15 years old. And that's where I got from. Because if it ain't no fun if my homie can't have none type of situation, I don't really see, in my mind, I don't really see someone pressuring you into having these relationships with grown women, unless Fat Joe was doing some Diddy type behavior behind the scenes, like saying, yeah, you engage me to golf and do what you can. I'm gonna be very angry with you. I'm gonna leave you in the DR because maybe he didn't want to do it because for my I'm not understanding Fat Joe is married. So maybe he wanted to see people do what he couldn't do. But did do, allegedly, with underage girls. Say he fell so hard for one underage girl, he gave her a big deal. Joseph Constantine, however you pronounce your name. I hope these things are true. I really do, but as time has gone on, we have found out that our 90s superheroes aren't really superheroes at all. But we're still pulling out those case forms now, aren't we, young ladies? Yes, I want all the facts to come out, but I'm not going to again come out and say that these people are lying on the star versus the other way around. Because now we have a situation where you have to admit something with Diddy because you saw him knock the mess out of old girl in the hallway. So had that not happened, I say that people will still be capable for Diddy calling him innocent, because now they're acting like a DV case is just, it's sick and disgusting. How people are acting like a DV case is no big deal. It's just a DV case. Or he has Astroglide in baby oil. So what? He's just nasty. It's just baby oil. It's just Astroglide. Amazing. I just don't want this to turn out to be one of those situations where you saying that no, it's just this and just that. Because when facts start to come out, we have to find a way to wear those capes for these black men, and these male-centered minded women are the worst. One girl told me the other day when I was like, y'all acting like domestic violence is just okay. Well, it is. In this case, they trying to get this man on the RHOP. I'm like, okay, well, it's definitely been proven that there was trafficking going on, okay? So when you take your sex workers across state lines and what's not, that's a crime. Y'all know that, right? So that goes into the RICO case. Y'all know how to divide this? Well, this case is just about a hoe named Candiace. I have seen that. She was just one of his hoes, and she was a jealous hoe. So she decided that she wanted to come out and come against them for no reason. No reason. Unless she's talking about those 20 million reasons. Yeah, just a bunch of gold diggers. One girl told me. I'm like, wow. I said, even if she is just a gold digger, if you was a gold digger in this situation, would you want somebody making you have relations with them for 18 hours? She did that because she wanted to do it. For real. That's what they're saying. And now I'm saying already where they're saying, well, Fat Joe, it ain't Fat Joe's fault. Oh, boy, just jealous of that. You got that going on. So now you don't have the excuse to say you're trying to take down a black man because he ain't black. Child, I cannot make this stuff up. Do you hear me? I'm telling you, if you go on my Facebook page right now, on a people.com page, where I made that comment and said, seriously, how can you think that DV is just DV? When you say something like it's just, you are minimizing the damage. The damage done to the mind. The damage done to the body. Minimize. I don't get people. I mean, I wasn't raised this way, and I don't know where are the parents of these people. I know they're grown. Most of them just commenting on my page or my Facebook page. I know they're grown, but I mean, I'm like, who was you raised by to make you think that it's just DV? Who was you raised by when you said that it's just gold diggers that were going across state lines because they wanted to? Who were you raised by? When you say that that's not racketeering because he owned his own company. That was his company. He could take how much money out he want to take out. It is racketeering, fool, when you taking out of company funds, even though your name may be on the company, when you taking out company funds for personal shit. Where did you get your education? That is taught in economics. Where when you have a company, you pay yourself only when you were running that company, or your name is on an LLC as an employee. And that's what Diddy was. He was an employee, a bad boy, even if he was the CEO. An employee still all the same, because they're under the umbrella of Arista Records. And under the umbrella of Arista Records, he was supposed to be paying his damn artists. And I asked him that. I said, what about the fact that he didn't pay his artists? He's doing fucking freak off. And these people complaining about pay, dying broke. What about that? Child, I can't make this stuff up. Let me get out here before I get upset again. Come on in. Like, comment, subscribe to my channel. Hit the notification bell button. You will be notified when I upload a video. Share the video. Because why? Sharing is indeed caring. And as I do, when I close, I'm going to talk to